Welcome back to this third session in the module, Creating a Culture of Self-Discipline Online. In this lesson, we'll explore building an online community. Our learning objectives in this session are as follows. First, to understand that virtual communities are built on a sense of trust and commitment to each other. To examine the fact that we want to set up an encouraging tone and encourage students to get to know each other in the online class. We will also want to look at developing a sense of team by creating a group project. And we want to acknowledge individuals by name when responding to discussion questions so that we can build a sense of community and a sense that we all know and like each other. In 1997, there was a book written by John Hagel III and Arthur Armstrong titled NetGain, Expanding Markets Through Virtual Communities. Hagel and Armstrong envisioned the emergence of virtual communities that would be built on a sense of trust and commitment to each other. This would be across all sorts of commercial establishments as the Internet was in its infancy and beginning to roll out. An online classroom is a prime example of a virtual community. Your online class will be a success if you build community by having a distinctive focus, integrating content and communication so that you are not only sharing the learning materials but having communication and interaction among the students, and facilitating student-generated communication and content and ideas that they bring forward as well. In many online classrooms, the participants don't know each other when they first begin in the online class, and so it's up to you, the instructor, to find ways to build relationships and build that virtual community. Let's explore 4 ways to do this. First, you want to post and respond to introductory bios. In other words, post your own bio, tell people about yourself, and provide a way for other students to post their bio and tell about themselves. Create a private group page on Facebook if the learning management system that you use does not allow a way for people to have online conversations about stuff not necessarily related to the learning materials. Create online learning teams. Come up with a project that a smaller group of people can come together on and work together to accomplish, to build that sense of esprit de corps, essentially a team. And also acknowledge students when they are posting. Be sure to mention them by name. If you remember the old TV show Cheers, the song there had to do with everybody wants to go someplace where everybody knows your name. And so the power of a name, when you acknowledge that and post and respond to people, is powerful in building community. One of the things that, as I mentioned, you want to do is to post and respond to introductory bios. In this case, the instructor should post his or her bio and encourage all participants to do the same. As students post their bios, what you should do as the instructor is respond, say hello, and make some sort of connecting comment. So, for example, let's say that a student says that they enjoy playing basketball. Perhaps what you do is you say hello, you post and say that, hey, my son plays too, and then you ask them about their basketball team. The others will follow suit because you will be setting the example, and soon you'll see other students interacting and saying, hi, hey, I like doing X, Y, or Z as well, and you begin to build that community. One of the other things that you can do is to create a private Facebook group. If your learning platform doesn't display pictures, consider this idea. Students join and share their thoughts, and posts might be about the subject matter, or posts might be about something totally unrelated. Be creative. Get students to know each other, and they will be more committed to learning together. Another thing that you can look to do is to create online learning teams. Assign a project for them to collaborate on. Provide some ground rules. Have them agree to meet certain project milestones. If you are grading projects, be sure to provide 2 grades. one grade for the individual effort, and another one for the overall team project. That way you'll avoid what we'll call the social loafer syndrome, where some students say, hey, I'll get a great grade, all I have to do is just do the bare minimum, and I'll let the A-type personality do all the work. We want to avoid that and encourage individual effort as well as team collaboration. What we want to do is focus not just on learning, but by building a true sense of team in the online classroom. Another thing that you can do is acknowledge students when they post. When replying to a post, quote the student's main point. This acknowledges what they had to say. It also builds continuity in the online thought process. Remember, in the asynchronous classroom at least, hours, if not days, may pass between their post and your response. And people will have slept and they will have forgotten whatever it is that they might have said a few hours or a few days ago. Then, after you've quoted their main point, add your thoughts and conclude with a question that extends the conversation and asks others to join in. Here's an example. The discussion question asks the student to look at the materials and respond to the following statement. The Philistines in the Old Testament were thought to have a more sophisticated religion compared to the ancient Jews. What were some of the Philistine practices and beliefs? Now, in the context of that question, about 5 years ago, I was leading a group online to show them how to teach online. We were using my novel, The Brotherhood of the Scroll, and the accompanying course guide, Clash of the Superpowers, to look at the context of the Old Testament set about 600 BC and compare that to modern times. The student replied to that particular post. Now, as the instructor, it's important to quote a portion of their statement to connect to your follow-up reply. Here was the response. Regarding the religion of the Philistines, Jason writes, a source I found said the Philistines adopted in the main the religion and civilization of the Canaanites. As a follow-up then, the Canaanites thought that Baal, the pagan god, brought rain to fertilize their crops. The Jews in the time of Jeremiah came to think that if they wanted their crops to grow, they had to practice the fertility rites of the Philistines. And then the instructor asks a follow-up question. What were fertility rites? What would be a modern example where people say Christianity is too old-fashioned and not tolerant? In this last example, we demonstrated how to acknowledge a student's reply to their post by adding a new thought and then ask a follow-up question to expand the conversation. The goal is to get others involved in the conversation. Notice that the follow-up response is open-ended. It's not directed to Jason alone. To build community in your online course, you must invite others into the conversation. In this segment, we've emphasized ways to build community in the online classroom. We've recognized that online community is based on a sense of trust and that we must set an encouraging tone, develop a sense of team among the students, and acknowledge students individually. If you like, stop for a moment and think and talk about these ideas with someone else. This concludes the video lesson for this module. In our next module, we'll build on this lesson to explore how to manage the online classroom experience in order to achieve the subject matter learning objectives.